If you want to master unscrapable websites with no coding knowledge at all, this is the video for you. By the end, you will know how to get data from websites like Amazon, where you can pick out each item's title, description, price, image, you name it, and even get the results from multiple pages in seconds. Amazon is a notoriously hard website to scrape, which is why I'm choosing it as my test dummy, so that you can feel confident after learning how to scrape it, that you will have the knowledge to scrape whatever website you wish. Here is the playground we'll be using for this tutorial. It's a tool called OxyCodePilot. If you go ahead and click on the link in the video description below, you will not be asked for any credit card information or anything like that. So please go ahead and pause here now so that we can get started with the tutorial. Okay, so once you have done that, please unpause and let's get going. In fact, here is a full list of everything we will be learning in this video today. So first off, we're going to get set up on OxyCodePilot and then move on to creating a web scraper. So we're going to scrape Amazon in this example, followed by creating our own parser. So a lot to cover. I hope you're excited. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and sign up. I'm just going to go ahead and choose to sign up with my Google account. So I'm just going to follow these steps in order to get to the OxyLab dashboard. Once you are here, simply click on the banner above in order to get started with the OxyCodePilot Playground, or in other words, the tool from OxyLabs that we will be focusing on today. As mentioned, OxyCodePilot is a first-of-a-kind AI web scraper assistant designed to generate scraping code and parsing templates using simple prompts in English. It actually leverages OxyLab's web scraper API, which I have used in the past, and saves developers hours of manual coding by utilizing advanced LLMs to analyze complex HTML structures, find the best parsing patterns, and generate parsing instructions and API request codes. It's relatively easy to use, but stick with me so that you can get the most out of this tool. So as I mentioned, we're going to be scraping Amazon, but we're going to be scraping a specific item from Amazon. In this case, let's go ahead and search for maybe PlayStation. So if I just type in PlayStation like this, let's go ahead and put PlayStation like that as a search term. This will of course bring up all the PlayStation results, including their prices, including their titles, including, all this information right here that shows up. So here is a list, and there really is a lot, of course, and there's also pagination. So we're going to scrape all the PlayStation results essentially so that you can use this data. Perhaps you want to build a price comparison app, or you just want to see the cheapest ones, or get all the data on all the PlayStation items. Who knows, okay? The world is your oyster. I'm going to leave that up to you, what you want to do with this data. But in an ideal world, we would like to get all the information, right, along with all the information from page 1, 2, 3, all the way to 20. So pagination is something that we're going to also keep in mind. So how do we do this? Well, let's start off simple. I'm just going to get this URL right here. In fact, we could just get rid of all the unnecessary bits. So here we are just looking on Amazon.com to find anything with PlayStation as the search term, right? So I'm just going to copy that, and then let's click on the OxyCodePilot AI to build our web scraper with AI. So the URL to scrape, like I said, is going to be Amazon, but we're going to be specifically looking for PlayStations. So let's start off super simple. Okay, we're going to do a basic example first just to run through the whole dashboard. I'm going to do scrape this URL using a desktop agent and United States as the location. Okay, so pretty much what the suggested text told me to do. Now I'm just going to go ahead and choose generate scraper. So that is now generating, it's doing its thing. However, what is really cool is that OxyCodePilot actually recognized that this is an Amazon web page and actually shows a pop-up for us asking us if we want to use their dedicated Amazon parser that they've already built and currently maintain constantly thanks to their experts. So that is an option for us, or we can build our own parser, which we will be doing later. But as we're just going to run through this quickly for now, I'm going to choose to use their dedicated parser. So let's continue with the dedicated parser, right, that Oxy Labs has already made. And ta-da, as you can see, this dashboard has been populated for me. So Amazon is the website, that's correct. We are doing a search on the term PlayStation. So those three are fine. And let's just check the additional parameters that we want to add or did add through our text prompt. The domain is .com, that is right, because that is the URL we fed in. We did say that we wanted to be in the United States, so it's given us a geolocation of 90210. I'm happy with that. Of course, we can change it, and it has picked up the user agent as the desktop. So I am happy with this for now. We're just going to keep everything the same, and let's go ahead and submit our request. So as you can see, it's done it. We've essentially scraped the web page. We have got all the HTML so we can see it visually right here. And we also have the past data. So this is all the data that makes up this web page right here. This is looking really good. Of course, the output is JSON. Amazing. I'm really happy with this. Okay, so now that we know this works in the playground, okay, as you can see, here's the output preview. We can now get the code. So this is essentially the code you would use to get this output. Okay, this has been generated for us thanks to the text prompt we gave, and we can get the request code in Python, PHP, Node.js, so that would probably be my one of choice. And all you'd have to do is copy it like so, and then put it in your project, put it in your server to get these results right here. Okay, so I mean, super simple, right? That was a super simple version of what we want to cover. If you want to go ahead now and just take the code that you choose and play around with it in your server in order to get that output, then please go ahead, or you can choose to continue watching this video for a more in-depth version of using this dashboard. If you are going to break off now and use this in your own server and your own projects, one thing you will notice is that you need your username and password. You do get this from Oxy Labs, and I will be showing you how to get this in a bit. However, first off, I just have a few more things I'd like to cover. So let's move on. Okay, so in the previous example, I showed you how to scrape Amazon with a dedicated parser that is maintained by Oxy Labs. However, what if you have a website that, doesn't have a dedicated parser? This is what I'm going to show you how to do next. Okay, so a website that does not have a dedicated parser, we're going to essentially generate our own. So let's do it. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the Oxy Labs sandbox of scraping products. So here we have some games that we can scrape. Okay, some video games that we can scrape. Big fan of Legend of Zelda. Any Legend of Zelda or Ocarina of Time, definitely. So here we have a few, okay? This is just for demo purposes. So please go ahead and use this as well, because if you master this, you'll hopefully be able to master anything. So let's go ahead and grab this URL. Like I said, this is just a sandbox website used for web scraping, and this information listed on the website does not have any real meaning and should not be associated with the actual products. So once again, starting fresh, let's go ahead and build our web scraper. I could just put in this whole URL to get all the products here. Or if we want to be more specific, I could just go ahead and click on Nintendo 64. So now you will see the product category is Nintendo, specifically Nintendo 64. And this is essentially all the products that I would like to scrape. Okay, so again, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, that is actually my favorite one ever. So that is good that will be included there. We have the price, we have a description, and we have a bunch of more information too. So let's scrape that one. So I'm just going to replace that to be more specific. And once again, we can just keep these same instructions if we want. So scrape the provided URL using a desktop agent and the United States as the location. Okay, and now let's generate the scraper. So once again, that is doing its thing and amazing. So as you will see, there is no parser this time. Okay, Oxy Labs does not have one for this specific website. So our options are to add our own parsing instructions using AI or to continue without parsing. Well, we know we're going to add our own parsing instructions because I said so. So let's go ahead and do that by clicking the first one. Or of course, you can continue without parsing, but perhaps do that on your own time. So I'm just going to go ahead and click this button right here. So great, here we go. As we can see, it is the same URL. That's great. And we now have to tell this AI exactly what we want to pick out from this data. So that is essentially what parsing does, okay? We're going to pick out, let's say we want to pick out the title. Let's say we want to pick out, the description, the tags, perhaps the price. We can do that. And we can do it without having to inspect the page, figure out what HTML element holds the title, figure out if there's a specific class name or ID we have to tag. We don't have to do any of that. All we do is just write it in here. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to put parse HTML from this URL, add all the product in the listing to a list where each product is an object containing the title, tags, description, and price. To be a bit more specific, let's also say list of the tags. Okay, and I think that looks great. So I'm just going to go ahead and click generate those instructions. So we are generating instructions for our parser in order to essentially get all the data, but format it in a way that we want. I was very specific about being a list and each product being represented by an object. So let's see how it does, and let's see how it does in essentially organizing the data to my needs. Now, previously, this would have taken maybe like a day or two by a developer. Not anymore. This literally takes a few seconds. So, ta-da, here we go. As you will see, we do indeed have a list of products. So here's an array of products, and each product is represented by an object, as you can see here. So the first object looks like this. We have a list of tags. So again, we have an array of tags. We have the price. We have the title, which indeed is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I definitely remember that. The description. And so amazing. It did pretty well. It did exactly what I wanted it to. The data is organized in a way that I wanted it, which is fantastic. And we even get the parsing instructions here for me to take if I want to do this in a project of my own. Okay? Wonderful. I'm so happy with this. We also have the parsing schema here. So this schema essentially is defining the data structure that I extracted. So again, it's kind of a template that says, each product is an object, and that object has to have an array of tags, which are strings, a string of a title, and the description, which is a string as well, and the price, which is a string. So here we go. Here's our schema as well. I love it. So now that we have the parsing instructions, and I'm pretty happy with the instructions, I can choose to save them. I'm just going to test this works with other searches in this website. So now let's maybe choose something else. I'm going to go with PlayStation. Let's go ahead and choose PlayStation 1. So here are all the products for PlayStation 1. And let's just get this URL. Okay, we also have the title, tags, description, and price here. And I'm simply just going to test the instructions with another URL. So let's go ahead and test it using the same parsing instructions. Okay. And ta-da, we get our parse data. So once again, each product is represented by an object. I'm just going to minimize those. Let's look at the first one. Okay, yes, we have the tags, which is an array of items. We have the price, we have the title as a string, and we have the description as a string. Okay, so amazing, this works. I'm happy with this. Of course, if you do want to edit anything here, you can. So for example, you might want to add a description of this. If you just want it to be more clear, it is up to you. Great, but I'm not going to change anything here. I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, so now I'm just going to save these instructions here. Again, this looks really good. I'm really happy with this. So just as a example of, not using a parser, I'm just going to show you this as if we didn't use a parser and show you the results. So once again, this is just generating. I'm going to continue without a parser this time and then submit the request. And once again, I'm just going to show you what this looks like. We do get the output. However, it looks a bit different. It's just kind of generated for us. We haven't specified what we want. So it's kind of just done its own thing, which is fine too. But if you're looking for that custom output, the parser is the way to go, especially when it comes to more complicated websites. Great. So now that we've done this, let's actually see how this works in an actual project. So we're going to use the request code. Like I said, I'm going to use Node.js because that is my preference. And I'm just going to put this in my own server and replace the username and password and show you how it goes. Okay, so let's do it. Let's start fresh. In this example, I'm going to show you how to scrape Amazon for a product. I'm also going to show you how to parse that data to get the data that you want out of this scrape. And we're going to do it with pagination too. So we're going to scrape a few pages. And then finally, I'm just going to put this in my own Node.js project. So let's do it. Let's build our own scraper with AI. I'm just going to head over to Amazon like we did previously. And this time, maybe let's do Nintendo. So just like that. So let's scrape the Nintendo. I'm just going to go ahead and take that right here. Okay, so we're just going to scrape this URL. And perhaps let's get the 3 pages. Sure, I want to do that. So let's just put this here. Scrape provided URL using desktop agent and United States as the location, and please get first 3 pages. Generate scraper. Okay, so once again, that is now doing its thing for us. And once again, because it's Amazon, we're going to use the already made parser. So continue with the dedicated parser this time. Let's just check .com because it's the United States. We've got 90210. The user agent is desktop, and we're going to get the first 3 pages with the first page starting. So this is looking good to me. Of course, we can submit this request. So let's go ahead and do that. Here are my parsing instructions because, we do want this parsed. So let's see how it goes. And ta-da! So amazing. Here we go. It even tells us the page. And if we go all the way down here, hopefully this would have gone to page 3. But let's just double check. Page 3, yes it does. This is looking good. So great. Here again is the Node.js code we will use. Here are the parsing instructions in order for us to get that data. So we use the dedicated Amazon parser from Oxylab to do this. I'm just going to copy this code now because I want this output to be in my own server, okay, my own project. So I'm just going to head over to WebStorm, which is my code editor of choice, and let's start a new project. I did say there's going to be a Node.js, so I'm just going to select Node.js for this to essentially spin up a project for me with all the configuration that I need. Let's call this Scraper project, just like so. And I'm going to click create. So there we are. We have a package JSON here. So that has been made for us. And I just need to create an index.js file. So let's go ahead and do that, index.js. And let's just paste that code. So here we go. The only thing we need to do is, well, import this package. So I'm going to do that down here. Let's get the terminal, npm I node fetch. So install that package. That should show up in the package JSON. So any second now, here we go, along with the version that we are using today. So if something's not working, it could be down to the version. If you're watching this way in the future, make sure to have the same version as I am. We also need to add the type module here, type module, so that we can use the import syntax here. And then we just need to also put all of this in a function. So let's just grab all of that. I'm going to write the function const get data. So just like so, because we have the await keyword there, we need to make this an async function. And now I'm just going to call this. So now back on Oxy Labs. Of course, if you don't want to do it in a project, you just want to export the results, you can do here. You can get the JSON response or the HTML content, but I'm going to show you how to get your username and password now. So in order to do that, you're going to use the Web Scraper API, and you're going to have to start your free trial. This is a free trial, okay? So it won't charge you anything for the first week. It will charge you after that. So all I'm going to do is say that I've read the terms and conditions and start my free trial in order to get my username and password. Of course, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you for those who want to do this in their own projects. So there we go. And now let's just go ahead and get that. So here I'm going to create an API user. My username is just going to be Ania123. Password, I'm just going to suggest a strong password and create API user. Okay, and that's really it. So let's just go ahead and put in our username and password that we just got. So here is my username, Ania123_EPOSQ. And then of course my password, which is the one that I set. I will be deleting this, so please don't use this, it will not work. And the last thing you'll be asked to do is just make this an object. So passing instructions need to be an object, not a string. So just make them an object by getting rid of those quote marks at the beginning and end. So that's really it. That is the full code. I'm just going to maybe get rid of these lines so you can see everything right here. So we have the get data function. And now if I just do node index.js to run this, ta-da, there we go. We have all that data in our project. Amazing. I'm really happy with this. Of course, you can go into this data more. You can really do whatever you want. And that's it. We've done it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully that was useful. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below.